If you're watching this, then you are probably looking for part 2 of my budgeting series, and you have found it. If you have not watched part 1 yet, I highly encourage you to. You can find the link for it down in the description box below. I encourage you to start with that one first and then come watch this one just to make sure that you've got all of your bases covered and that you're not missing anything when setting up your own home or personal budget. All right, guys, let's get to it. Now, I am going to see how much I can get into this video. I want to keep them from getting too terribly long, keeping within that 15-ish minute mark or so. So I'm going to see how much I can cram in, or if we're going to break it into a third video here. So, last time I told you guys to go through and pull together all of your expenses. Now, with that, I meant all of your expenses. You need to know everything that you pay out monthly, quarterly, twice a year, yearly. It doesn't matter. You needed to go ahead and get all of that together. We're going to start with the monthly stuff and then we're going to break down from there. But as long as you've got all of that pulled together, you are ready to get started. All right, one of the other things that I told you guys to go ahead and make sure that you had as well was a handy dandy notebook and a pen, probably a calculator. The one on your phone is going to work just fine as well. So I asked you guys to go ahead, write all of those bills down. Now what I have here, guys, I do have what is essentially a copy of our budget without any totals because we don't need to be sharing all of that. But I wanted you guys to see what this is going to look like. Now I thought about just doing some fancy editing and just putting up a little white space over here where I could list everything. But I want you guys to see exactly what this looks like when I do it and that this is real, this is doable, this is personal. So in my notebook here, I have got, there we go. You can see I have got everything listed there. Feel free to pause this at any point that you would like to. Okay, so I have all of that. I do not have totals on here, and that is okay because I did not want my totals on here. What you need at the top, guys, start with the most important things first. Start with the things that no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to cut these out of your budget. You may be able to find creative ways to reduce them sometimes, but that we'll talk about at a different time. So I always start with our mortgage. Back when we were renting, you start with your rent. You put that there. Then comes all of your utilities after that. If you live somewhere that has both gas and electric, those go right up there. After that, I have our water bill, followed by, we live in what's called a sanitary district, which it's not quite an HOA, not quite a city sewer bill or anything like that. It's a little complicated, but we do live in a sanitary district. It covers our sewer and then the road maintenance and everything else in our neighborhood, as well as our garbage. Now, beyond that, because we are a larger household, I do have extra garbage written down. Now, that is because we were able to go directly through the garbage company that our sanitary district contracts with and get a second garbage can because it's necessary with this many people. We do not live in an area that offers recycling. The few areas around us that have it, it's extremely limited and almost not worth it. But it's not offered where we live. I have tried. I loved having that option in other places we've lived, but that's neither here nor there. So from there, now guys, now that we're beyond everything we need and are really not negotiables, we're going to get into all of our extras. So Verizon, let's get this focus back in here. We've got Verizon. That is our cell phones. We've got Vast or Blue Peak. That's our home internet. Melaleuca, Beachbody. Those are ordering services. We place monthly Melaleuca orders. I do place monthly Beachbody orders, which is not something I've discussed, but they're Shakeology. Well, I'll share that another time. Anyhow, I'm really appreciating that, not to mention their subscription. Streaming services, though. This is digital content on our TV. So we do have the Disney Hulu bundle. We've got Paramount Plus. We do also have Netflix again as of very recently. Something I've really debated on, but we went ahead and did it. So that really rounds out our monthly expenses. So again, you guys can see how I have all of that written down. Now, when you have this written down in your notebook, if you have not already done this, In this far column, this is where I want you to write the totals for these items. In this space in between, this is where you're going to write your due dates. So that way you can organize them here very, very soon, because that is coming up. But we have more monthly expenses. Because guys, you got to eat and you got to put gas in your car if you have a car. If you don't have a car, you're probably paying for transportation expenses in the form of a bus pass or something else. Now, again, we don't live in an area that offers that, but I know it's a thing. So there is that. Now, I do have, you're going to see here, food and gas. This is broken down per week. I do a lot of abbreviating. So you're going to see that on here. So we're going to break this down to how much we spend on food per week, as well as how much we average for gas per week. Now, if you've watched my grocery hauls, you do know that we budget $400 per week for groceries. So when I write out my budget, that's what it's going to reflect, is per week, not per month. Honestly, guys, I gotta say, even if you work a job where you only get paid once a month, if this is a weekly expense for you, you need to be budgeting for it weekly. It doesn't really matter at this point in the budgeting game when or how often you get paid. You need to know how often you spend that money. We'll get around to how often you get paid here in the next step. So coming down here farther, I do have dog grooming. Once upon a time, I used to do that myself when we had our other dog. But you know what, guys? I'm just very busy at this point in life. So I've got this per 8 weeks, because that's how often on average we take DOG to be groomed. And then down here, we do have Amazon, Pureflix, and doTERRA. Because Amazon is a yearly bill. Pureflix, we pay for a year subscription at a time. So it is a streaming service, but we don't pay it monthly. And then you have doTERRA, which we only order 2 to 3 times a year, depending on when we're out of toothpaste, as well as a couple of other basic oils and oils in general that we are in need of. Because there's a couple other products we absolutely love. We just don't order monthly from them. Okay. Whew. Okay, so guys, we have gotten through this initial list. This is, like I said, this is how I want you to write this up. You go ahead, you write down those totals in the far column, you put your due dates. I want you to then take a second sheet of paper, which I did not do on this one because I don't have totals written in for anybody, but you're gonna flip to your next sheet and I want you to put them in due date order. So obviously these things down here are gonna stay down at the bottom because those are not due monthly, but I want all of your monthly stuff prior to the food and gas. I want all of that to be organized by the due dates, because coming up next, we are going to go ahead and figure out how to factor your paychecks into this and get this budget written so you know where your money's at all times. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this video off here because, like I said, I want to keep these short and sweet. However, I am turning around and I am recording the second one at this moment. So you are going to see that here probably tomorrow. And guys, I'm just going to get these up. I want these up to be shared, and that way they are accessible and ready for you as you want to watch them. Anyhow, guys, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video when it comes up, as well as everything else that I share. Check the description box of each of these videos because I will have the links to all of the other videos in each of them as they are put up. And in the meantime, I hope you're having a blessed day. We'll see you in the next one.